everyone can stay in their seats, this is really important because in, pure WITI tradition, we're going to change things up a little bit. And for the next 10 minutes, we're going to present some bite-sized content for you. Now, what I mean by that is we like to have the longer form presentations, but for this, we wanted to pose a challenge to our community, and we said, okay, presenters, who of you is willing to take this challenge to inspire in 10 minutes? And Kathrin Winkler was one of the very first people to step up and say she would do this. So sit back and enjoy, because for the next 10 minutes, Kathrin Winkler, the VP and Chief Sustainability Officer at EMC, is going to be talking with us about how do we create a sustainable future as women for the economy. Get it.
Good morning. So when I was here last year, where is the clicker, by the way? Thank you. You're welcome. I was here last year. I didn't use slides, so we're switching things up completely. When I was here last year, I spoke of the role of IT in sustainability. So this morning, I want to talk about the role of women in sustainability, and I'm going to tell you 27 short stories in 10 minutes. Well, there are a lot of definitions of sustainability. Probably the most universal one is this. It's meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. That definition is known as the Brundtland definition. It came from the United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development that later became known as the Brundtland Commission because it was chaired by Gro Harlem Brundtland, physicist and scientist, former Prime Minister of Norway, former Minister of Health, Minister of Environment, and Director General of the World Health Organization, WHO. Dr. Brundtland is one of a panoply of women that have really led the sustainability movement from its inception. Let's start with one of the most famous, Rachel Carlson, biologist, author of Silent Spring, really the founder of the modern environmental movement. Dr. Sylvia Earle is my personal hero. She's former chief scientist for the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I can't say that 3 times fast. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. She's an explorer in residence at National Geographic. She's a scientist, she's a diver, she's an author, she's known as Her Deepness, and Rachel Carson of the Sea. Last week, we very sadly lost Dr. Matai, Nobel Peace Prize laureate. And if you haven't read about Dr. Matai, I urge you to. The New York Times obituary called her environmentalist, feminist, politician, professor, rabble-rouser, and human rights advocate. She was known, it was said, for speaking truth to power. Boy, I don't know I lived well if that's what's on my gravestone. And look at some of the other important environmental and social leaders of the day. Christiana Figueres. She's the Executive Secretary of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. Lisa Jackson, the Administrator of the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Mindy Luber, President of Ceres, working and dedicated to integrating sustainability into capital markets. Why so many women are leaders in this space? That's the question. And I don't know the answer, but I have some theories, and that's what I want to share with you. First of all, I'm going to make some broad generalizations. Let me say this right now. I know they're not true for all women. I know they're not true for all men. Please don't bristle at that. But they are true, and there have been many studies to show them. In 10 minutes, I can't cite the studies. All right? But don't get mad at me if I say them. So let me start with my first theory, which is that sustainability is all about connectedness. It's all about how business and society and the environment are interconnected. And women have a tendency to look at things more from a perspective of how they connect to one another than how they stand apart. And look at the women I just mentioned. Dr. Brundtland connected what we do today to the well-being of the future generations. Rachel Carson connected what we're doing to the impact and the value of the condition of the environment. And Dr. Earle does the same thing for the oceans. The Nobel Prize Committee awarded Dr. Matai for a holistic approach to sustainable development that embraces democracy, human rights, and women's rights in particular. Secretary Figueres is bringing together nations to address climate change, Mindy Luber is bringing together investors and private industry to find new ways to measure progress and performance by corporate America, corporations around the world. But not all the work is being done on the global stage. And in fact, I would argue in this day and age, especially in the United States of political rhetoric and grandstanding and deadlock, that a lot, or if not most, of the real work is being done by private companies. And while there's still more men leading sustainability initiatives in companies than there are women, there are actually more women than there are in traditional management roles. Did you know that there have only been 24 women CEOs of Fortune 500 companies in the history of the Fortune 500? But I know more than that, women who are actually leading sustainability initiatives. And some of them really are trailblazers. Hannah Jones from Nike, who's really set a standard for how we drive sustainability in our supply chain. Patty Calkins from Xerox, a dear friend who really has raised the bar for design for environment and thinking when we design things about what's going to happen to them in end of life. And when I look at women like Patty in the IT industry, it stands out in particular the number of women who are leadership in this field. It includes Charlene Lake from AT&T, Kirsi Sarmanen from Nokia, Cynthia Curtis from CA Technologies. These women are all driving sustainable futures for our corporations. So why the higher proportion of women in IT and sustainability than in general management? Well, one possibility is that it's simply a new field. There is no old boys network to have to penetrate. I think there's another theory as well, though. In her recent book, Female Vision, Sally Helgeson, whom I had the fortune to meet at a recent conference, tells us that women's primary driver is, in her words, desire to do work that they feel matters. And further, that women are more likely to assign value to their work based on the quality of their daily experience than on what their job implies for the progression of their careers. In other words, what I get to do today is more important than where I think this job may take me in the future. And let's face it, sustainability jobs do matter, but we don't know where they're going to take us. They're new enough that we have no idea. And I want to introduce you to some women at EMC that jumped into sustainability jobs. Each is the first in her job. Most of them created them, and they have no idea what the next step is for them. And they're going at it with a passion and energy. It includes Lisa Brady, who founded our social environmental supply chain program and is now running our global product operations sustainability team. Kesa, she wrote every word of our sustainability report. She's sustainability marketing manager. Erin, sustainability program manager. She did our water footprinting, and she runs our employee engagement program. Julie, she's sustainability lead for global real estate, and she's the one who brought composting to our cafeterias. Maggie, sustainability lead for China. She brought us into rural China to see how we could work with the Chinese government. And Corinne, who was here somewhere. Where are you, Corinne? There she is. Right? Corinne, who's sustainability and community involvement lead for the West Coast. And I put up this picture because you can see Corinne in person, but it tells you how much this job really, really does matter. But I'm actually not here to tell you that you should get a sustainability job. At the end of the day, we need to integrate sustainable thinking into everything we do and into every corner of the company. Right? The success or the progress that EMC has made has been about women who have not taken sustainability jobs, women and men, not who have taken sustainability jobs, but who have taken sustainability into their jobs. Women and men alike are demonstrating how this is done, and as Sally's research shows, women have a penchant for viewing their work in a larger social context, and I think we heard that from our previous speaker. And women seek to integrate business with the personal aspects of their lives, and that's where sustainability really can come in and make it more fulfilling. So I want to introduce you to some of these women and tell you in their words why they're bringing sustainability into their jobs and how they're doing that. Their reasons are both all-encompassing and very, very personal. Katie is an investor relations officer. She led the effort to get EMC listed in the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and she does it, she says, to drive continuous improvement in areas like environmental and social responsibility makes us a better company and a better investment. Rachel is an associate general counsel. She's one of the smartest and most upbeat people I know, and she read every single word of our 108-page sustainability report multiple times to be sure we could stand behind everything we said. And she said she does it because good governance helps us compete more effectively, sustain our success, and build long-term shareholder value. Gail is on the board of directors and the governance and nominating committee, and she makes sure we look at sustainability as a frame for our corporate performance from the top down. Gillian's my financial controller. She helped me put together a proposal for what to do with unused carbon allowances. And she said it was to ensure that as a company, we are having a positive impact on the environment and our planet's future. Sophie is in marketing. And she helps me develop executive presentations that have great, visual impact. And this is my favorite quote. She said she does it because I want EMC to want to do the right thing. And if my efforts can help convince the company that taking a sustainability-oriented approach to business is the right thing to do, I'll be proud of that and proud to work for a company that's sincere in its convictions. Renee leads talent acquisition. She and I have been exploring how you hire to build a sustainable culture. And she cares because top candidates, in her words, reach the maximum potential when their personal values align with their employers. Laura leads our packaging designs. She won an innovation award last year for some great packaging. She says it is a conscious decision on my part to weave sustainability into our designs to not only meet our customer needs, but also reflect a value that is part of the EMC culture. Alyssa is implementing our next generation ERP platform in our IT organization. She's doing it to give quick and accurate access to the data our employees need to make strong, sustainable decisions. And Mary, our contracts lawyer, she's helping raise the bar, no pun intended, in every contract we write. And this is how she put it. I became involved with sustainability out of intellectual curiosity, then realized it was smack in the middle of what I do as a legal advisor here at EMC. The more I learned too, as a mom, the more I was glad I was getting involved. If we all get involved, do a little bit at a time, a little each day, the world will be better for my daughter. Please, take Mary's words as a call to action. No matter what your job, no matter what your career, no matter what your expertise, you too can help build a sustainable future for our sons and daughters. Thank you.